witness the beginning of all evil. Hellboy, the Crooked Man, the Dragon Warrior is back. Kung Fu Panda 4. The Last Ride. Fast 10. The world forever changes.
The world will remember this day.
Oppenheimer. Matrimony. It's a wild ride. Bridesmaid.
We're in a fairly dangerous place. We're gonna stick out so bad.
Piratas doesn't look real.
They produce more placer gold than the entire Yukon.
We are not welcome.
There's a lot there that can kill you.
Gold Rush Parker's Trail, Thursdays 8:30, part of the Summer of Gold.
Hello and welcome. This is Midday News. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister James Marape has condemned the brutal rape and murder of a woman at Watermark Estate in Barony, Port Moresby, describing the act as inhuman, barbaric and unacceptable in our society. The Prime Minister assured the nation that the government has ensured that those responsible for this act are brought to justice. Prime Minister Marape said the government supports the eviction of illegal settlements that have become safe havens for criminals. He commended the National Capital District Commission for its ongoing efforts to dismantle those settlements, emphasizing that law and order must be upheld in all communities. Community leaders, churches and citizens have been urged to work together with the police in addressing law and order issues, emphasizing that security is a shared responsibility. The government reaffirms its commitment to strengthening law and order, increased police presence, and ensuring criminal activities are stamped out. Following the recent deaths involving a mother of two who was murdered by her partner and the other young woman murdered in Barony recently, Papua New Guinea citizens are questioning when the government will enforce the Vagrancy Act. In response, NCD Governor Paus Pakub said the act is held up by the Parliament pending approval. While preparations are underway to celebrate Papua New Guinea's 50th independence anniversary, managing lawlessness is a big issue the country is faced with. With the recent illicit death of two women in the nation's capital, citizens are questioning when the government will enforce the Vagrancy Act. According to many, when implementing this act will curb lawlessness in the city. In response, NCD Governor Pakop said the act was put before the Parliament last year. It is currently pending approval. However, he intends to write to the Speaker of Parliament to fast-track the processes of the act to have it enforced when Parliament resumes.
Before Parliament since the beginning of last year, so it's held up by Parliament, and especially the Private Business Committee. So I will be writing to the Speaker, who is the chairman of the committee, to ensure that it is cleared and then goes to Parliament so that Parliament can pass it. So we have another tool available to us.
Pakop said the government has put a lot of resources into law and order and will continue to do so to decrease crime in the city.
Our city, we are doing all all that we can to bring safety and security to the public space. We have, for example, roll out the city wardens and POM city watchers. So there's a lot of effort and resources allocating into safety and security for the city as a whole, but in particular for women and girls.
Meanwhile, Pakop said the horrific death of both women is one of the many challenges the country faces. This issue will only come to an halt if citizens, especially men, respect women and abide by the laws of this country.
This week we have two, very bad, incident to remind us of the challenges that we face. So it shows that we have to put effort and attention towards that as well. It's happened in the homes, and one involving a relationship that should be a loving relationship. So this is the challenge that we all face.
Meanwhile, Pakop issued condolences to the families of both deceased. 5 patients suffering from various heart conditions received open heart surgeries last week. The open heart surgeries were conducted by Open Heart International Australia and the local heart specialist team at the Port Moresby General Hospital. Among the 5 patients, 21-year-old Wilson Tamani is recovering in the ward after his deceased heart valves were replaced by a mechanical valves in the open heart surgery performed last week Friday. According to cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Noah Tapahua, Wilson was the first patient who underwent the open heart surgery. Dr. Tapahua added that the 5 patients all received a heart valve replacement in the open heart surgeries without any complications. To overseas news, housing and law and order dominated the campaign trail today, with the state election now less than 3 weeks away. Labour promised to introduce a new home loan scheme for university graduates and apprentices, while the Liberals vowed to name and shame criminals on the run.
Watching a sketch come to life has been a major milestone for this young couple new to Perth.
It's ridiculously expensive to get into your first home, and just in general trying to pay rent with what they ask for in Canberra and save up for a house.
WA Labor today promising to help more first home buyers, announcing $210 million towards a new shared equity scheme through Keystart if re-elected.
This means West Aussies on a lower income can get a new apartment, pay less upfront costs and pay less on their mortgage repayments. This will put home ownership within the reach of thousands of West Australians.
The government says the investment would deliver up to 1,000 new apartments and townhouses. It would take out an equity share in any purchase of up to 35%. The government-owned Keystart initiative offers low deposit home loans but charges a higher interest rate. 2 new loans have been promised, one targeting graduates and apprentices, another for the delivery of modular homes in regional WA.
Everything you see here today is about enabling more young West Australians to own their first home.
The Liberals continue to focus on law and order, promising tough action within their first 100 days.
We will strengthen the Sentencing Act, the Prisoners Review Board, and we will ensure that we will name and shame criminals that are on the run.
For 2 years, the Cook Labor government have had the opportunity to name and shame every single convicted offender the subject of a return to prison warrant. They have refused time and time again.
It's promised to spend $2 million on a comprehensive review of the state's sentencing laws.
Sydney rail commuters are being told to brace for delays tomorrow that could be even worse than the chaos they experienced on Friday. The government's lost its largest legal challenge, in which it accused the union of secretly plotting to cripple the network.
For commuters craving certainty, today's messaging is sure to bring frustration.
The reality is there is no guarantees tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow may well be fine, but tomorrow may well be worse than Friday.
The government says Friday's chaos was due to staff absences, with the number of drivers on sick leave up 40% on previous weeks. While those numbers have been lower over the weekend, Sydney Trains went to the Fair Work Commission, claiming the no-shows were part of a secret union campaign. Its evidence included a text message from a union convener saying, "Let's f*** the network up."
The Commission found that the government's case didn't stack up in any way, shape or form.
Last week, the government told workers it wouldn't pay them if they took part in a union go-slow, which involves driving trains at reduced speeds. The Commission found that threat may have prompted staff to take illegitimate sick leave because they feared they'd lose a day's pay despite showing up for work.
They can guarantee trains running tomorrow by withdrawing the notices of no pay are directed to the union.
The government says it's willing to withdraw the threat to dock wages, but it wants the union to cancel the go-slow, and at the moment that's not on the cards. Caught in the middle of this back and forth are commuters, and the success or failure of the network tomorrow will largely depend on the number of rail employees who show up to work.
We're not going to encourage our members to show up or not show up.
The full bench of the Fair Work Commission will hear the dispute on Wednesday.
That is the hearing which could put a stop to this industrial action.
It's less of a promise, more of a possibility, but it's one commuters have heard before.
Back home in sports, Leigh City Dwellers FC couldn't match up to Hikari United's fast-paced football, losing 7-0 in Port Moresby on Saturday. 2 goals each from Hikari and PNG representatives Romana Padio and Michaeline Butubu helped Hikari to another Women's National Conference Soccer League title. Despite the result of the game, Leigh City Dwellers, under the guidance of veteran coach Raymond Gunemba, were competitive throughout the match, but it was the game fitness that brought the Hikari United home. Hikari United will now represent PNG in the 2025 OFC Women's Champions League in Tahiti. And that ends our midday news. To join us at 6 for more.